how to best prepare for Season 3 of The War Within. That's right, so we are now live in 11.2. We got this whole week right now to kind of grind out things, get things done as much as you possibly can before Season 3 actually kicks off. Raid opens, Mythic Plus, and Bountiful Delves. So those things are the things we're waiting for right now. But there's a bunch of ways to prep for all of that this week. Let's see what Signs of Kalani has to say about this.
Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 11.2 is now live, but there's still a bit of time before the new season starts to get your characters all ship-shape for their new gearing adventures. There are quite a few things that you can do right now that will make the start of Season 3 much easier, and you'll be able to hop into harder content to get the best rewards right away. So let's go over the best ways to prepare for the start of Season 3 and what you should get done before the weekly reset rolls around. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. The first thing that everyone will want to do to prepare for Season 3 is to get your Riyaps Artifact Cloak and upgrade it as far as you can. The cloak is
I saw people having issues with upgrading the cape this week. Is anyone else experiencing issues? I saw like comments about people saying, oh, I'm having trouble upgrading, and the other one was socketing it. Are there bugs involved in that right now, or is everyone okay? I'm not exactly sure, because I'm at Chapter 3 right now. We are, questing very slowly yesterday on stream, so I didn't get them yet, but I should be getting it today. I'm just wondering, are there issues with upgrading it yet? Yeah, some people have to log out between quests. Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess there are some issues there. Yeah, it's expected. All right.
Not optional just if you want to take part in most types of seasonal content. Not only does it provide you with a huge power boost, but you will need the cloak if you want to access the new and interesting parts in Delves, which can speed up your runs quite significantly, and the cloak is a hard requirement for entering the raid, and it is used in several important raid mechanics, so you need the cloak for sure. Your Riyaps Cloak is going to come from completing the first 3 story chapters of the main campaign for patch 11.2, so just work your way through the story quests until you've completed the Desert Power chapter and unlocked your Riyaps Cloak. You can upgrade your cloak at Overlook Zoshul in Koresh. It's around about here on your map. You should have an important quest over there called Wrapped Up. That quest introduces you to the NPC who upgrades your cloak by unlocking these talent options. Each upgrade is going to cost you 3 ethereal strands, and we're given...
Right, we get the 3 this week already, and then after that you're going to have to grind out the 3. Now, can you get a second set of 3 this week? That's my question.
The first 3 for free. So go ahead and unlock that first talent option, which will give your cloak the special proc effect, which is a huge part of its overall power, and each upgrade also increases the item level of your cloak. Now, another important quest that you want to complete is called Another World. This one introduces you to phase diving, which unlocks a lot of new content.
You can get 6 all up this week, so you can get another 3. So I know every week you will only be able to get 3. But that was my question. Can you get 6 this week? Because technically you get 3 like automatically given to you by this quest, and then maybe you can go grind out the other 3. Okay, 707 on the wraps, all right.
Well, but these 2 important quests will also unlock your alt skip, so you don't have to redo the story content if you don't want to. So if you want to get your alts caught up quickly, make sure you've completed both the Wrapped Up quest and the Another World quest. Now, we can actually get one more upgrade for your cloak this week, which takes it up to item level 707. You're going to need 3 more ethereal strands. These come from a wide variety of content, but most of it is not available until next week. The easiest way to get 3 more ethereal strands for the next upgrade is to just run 3 delves. You should get 1 ethereal strand per delve you run, so complete 3 delves and upgrade your cloak to the next.
This is a good thing to do, actually, not just to get the strands this week, but to pump up your delves to delve 11, right? You want to at least get to 8, so that way when Bountiful Delves open up on the next reset, you've got Bountiful Delves ready to go, and you could just jump straight into that. Level 8 Bountiful Delves are going to give you the best gear that you can possibly get from a delve, so that's important. So this is a double kill right here. You're getting your 3 more little upgradable coin thingy, whatever the hell they call the Riyaps shit, and you're going to upgrade your delves a little bit, which is good.
Level. And then the
Well,
last thing you want to do to get your cloak all ready for next week is to upgrade your fiber socket. You got to choose a fiber gem thing from the quest that rewarded you with the cloak, and you can buy them from the Cloak Upgrade NPC as well if you want different stats. These fibers allow you to choose what secondary stats are on the cloak, and you can change them around as often as you want. You just need to right click it and it'll pop back out, and then you can put another one in. But these starting fibers aren't the best option. You can get pure fibers that provide even more secondary stats, which give your cloak a nice little boost. The recipe to create these pure fibers comes from Renown level 5 with the new Koresh faction. So if you're a tailor, you can farm the rep yourself, get the recipe and craft whatever pure fibers you want, or you can head on over to the crafting order clerks and put in a crafting order for your pure fibers instead. A lot of
Blizzard always pushing this shit. They always want you to craft. Unbelievable. Putting the craft in Warcraft again. Oh my god.
Players already have reached Renown level 5 and unlocked these recipes. I know a guildie of mine had the recipe on day 1 of the patch, so you should be able to put in a public crafting order to get these fibers made for you. The pure fibers also don't have any different ranks or quality. It's just one item, so you can buy the cheapest materials and set your order off. You may need to provide a tip of 500 or 1,000 gold to get your crafts made.
1,000 gold tip? What the hell? What is shit? Really? Unbelievable. For you guys to pick this shit up, I gotta tip you 1,000 gold? This tipping culture is getting ridiculous.
Provide a tip of 500 or 1,000 gold to get your crafts made faster. You'll want to double check what other public orders are in there and how much gold they are offering, because if your tip is too low, you could be waiting a long time for your crafting order. With mine, it was done pretty much instantly, so it's going to depend on who is looking at the crafting order window as well. You can also send a guild order if anyone in your guild has the recipes, or find someone in...
Look, okay, I'm a fine tipper in real life, all right? I appreciate the waiter and the things they do and the fact that they are underpaid, okay? So I do tip, okay? But why the fuck am I dealing with this shit in WoW? Why? I don't want tipping in my fantasy world, okay? I just want to escape this life. I don't want to get in this game and remember the fact that, oh yeah, I got to spend all this freaking gold tipping people to create shit for me now. Bringing real life shit into the game. Unbelievable. Greg just wants to escape from his abusive wife when he's playing this game. You think he wants to remember the fact that he has to tip people every single time he takes her out to a restaurant? She still don't appreciate that shit? Unbelievable.
Trade chat to make them specifically.
Sorry, I'm ranting.
Either way you do it, you should get a pure fiber to maximize your cloak's effectiveness. It's worth about an extra 600 secondary stats, so that's pretty good for something that's so cheap and easy to get. The next thing I would do is to unlock the higher tiers of delves. We start with up to tier 4 available, so you'll need to run a tier 4 delve to unlock tier 5, and then just keep going until you unlock at least tier 8 delves. Tier 8 delves are where your weekly vault rewards cap out for delves, so that's what you'll be running if you want to maximize your gearing potential next week. You get additional crest rewards next week for tiers 9, 10, and 11, so they are worth unlocking if you can clear them and you have the time, but they aren't necessarily a priority. Now, while we cannot do bountiful delves this week, we can start collecting restored copper keys to use next week.
And if you don't get your delves, up, don't you be using these keys, okay? Don't be using these keys on stupid shit.
Few ways to get your hands on these,
Obviously,
and you can actually get more than just the usual 4 per week. Weekly caches have now been split into 2 different types, and you'll need to read them carefully to see which reward you're going to get. The important weekly quests...
That's a good point, Brad. Don't push it all the way to 11 this week. Get it up to 8 and then get credit for it next week. Credit what? Towards your vault, you're saying? Is that what you're trying to say? Get credit for? What kind of credit are you going to get after plus 8s? That's because in Dragonflight it required extra mats to guarantee the rank 5. Yeah, I know. I remember, and I hated that. I hated that whole system of crafting that shit. You don't use them this week when you don't have any keys anyways. Thanks for the tips. Well, I know you can't use them this week. It's not possible. These are for Bountiful Delves, and Bountiful Delves are not accessible this week. What I was trying to say was don't use it on a lower level delve. Just push that shit as high as you can. To get the crests. Right, you won't get. I don't think you get. What's it called? This fucking Harbinger crest, Dick crests, all these crests. The top level crests that can boost up your heroic level shit. You can't get those from a plus 8, but you can get them from a bountiful delve using a coffer key. You can get some extra ones out of them if you push past plus 8. That's what I'm trying to say. All right? Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Sam. I wasn't talking. Get the fuck out of my chat. Unbelievable. You're not talking to me. You're talking about shit.
Dornagal, and the new weekly quests in 11.2 will reward you with a cache that contains a whole restored coffer key for the first 4 you open. Right now, you should be able to pick up the World Soul weekly quest, the Titan Disc weekly quest, as well as the Delve weekly quest in Dornagal. All 3 of those will reward you with a restored coffer key. The Special Assignment World quest in Koresh also rewards you with a cache that contains a restored coffer key, so getting those 4 caches will give you your weekly 4 keys pretty easily. And then the older weekly events have a separate cache reward system, but you can get the reward for the first 4 of each type of cache. So the first 4 of these caches you open will contain key shards.
Nice.
Each cache contains 50 shards, and you can combine 100 shards into another coffer key. So if you complete 4 older events, like Theatre Troop, Spreading the Light, or older Special Assignment World quests, you can get up to 200 key shards, which is just another 2 keys to add to your collection. You can also get key shards from other sources, including world quests, so it's always worth checking what the world quests are rewarding whenever they reset. And then it's also worth checking the older Reputation Quartermasters, just in case you've forgotten to pick up some rewards or you're playing a new character or alt for this patch. Every reward, whether it's Valor Stones, Crests, or Restored Coffer Keys, gets updated to the new season and patch. So if you haven't picked up any of these rep rewards yet, you can actually get a huge influx of gear upgrading materials and some more Restored Coffer Keys to use next week.
Good.
I'm going into next week with 8 Coffer Keys ready to go, and I'll be able to pick up more after the weekly reset. That's a lot of champion gear.
Has anyone got maps this week? Anyone get a map yet? Those maps are also like another big boon for gear and everything else. If you can get a map, you get more of the crests and stuff. Gilded crests is what I'm thinking of. Has anyone gotten those bountiful maps that make the bountiful delve even more bountiful? Those things are great.
To help gear up my hunter super fast
no
from
maps
bountiful
this
delves.
Until next week? Okay.
Completing the important weekly quests in Dawn.
Cadence coming in. Turn blurs back. I could get the hell out of here.
Gal will also reward you with your first Fractured Spark of Starlight. These are the new crafting sparks used in Season 3 to craft up to item level 720 gear, so they are going to be incredibly powerful. You can get your Fractured Spark from any important weekly quest, and you should see this new weekly activity reward listed that shows it will reward you with a Fractured Spark. You can get 1 more Fractured Spark this week from almost any endgame content. I got mine when running delves to unlock the higher tiers, but you should be able to get them from dungeon runs as well. The maximum we can get this week is 2 Fractured Sparks, and you can check that by looking at the new Starlight Spark
crafting
Dust
shit again.
currency in your currency tab. Combine those 2 Fractured Sparks together and you'll get your first Spark of Starlight. You can use that in any high-end crafting recipe to get an item level 691 piece of gear this week, and then as you start earning Ruined and Gilded Crests in Season 3, you can upgrade it to item level 720, which is pretty huge. Now you can craft this piece of gear right away if you want to, but I would probably wait for next week at the very least so you can get some decent gear from other sources first. It's also worth mentioning that every class has boots from the raid that interact with your cloak, which boosts its power even further. So I would not craft boots in Season 3. We also have the belt from the previous patch, so I wouldn't craft a belt either, and your cloak slot is pretty much just occupied for the rest of the expansion.
I wonder how long those belts are going to be irrelevant, because they, even though their item level is going to obviously be outmatched, pretty quickly here, they have those extra abilities attached to them. So I wonder how long before the Sims start to say, "Hey, yeah, replace the belt."
So we're kind of limited to
Probably
jewelry and
raid.
bracers for the most part for crafted gear, so I definitely think it's worth holding on to your spark for next week at least. The next step would be gearing up as much as possible so you can jump into the harder content next week. The better gear you have, the easier the raid will be and the faster you can push Mythic Plus dungeons, or just the easier time you'll have in those tier 8 to 11 bountiful delves. We have a couple of gearing up options in this first week. To start with, everyone should go kill the new world boss in Koresh. You are guaranteed a piece of 688 champion gear on your first kill of the week. The only problem is that you aren't guaranteed a piece of gear you can actually use. The gear is warbound, however, so you can trade it across your characters to...
Oh, are you serious? So I can get a piece of cloth gear right now on my Death Knight? From the world boss? Is that a real thing? What the hell? That's so stupid. What do you mean? Eye level is all that eye level is all that matters. Is normal raid open yet? No, the raid opens next week. All difficulties all at once. Sam doesn't have either. Yeah, I got an amazing ring from the boss. Nice, nice. I usually don't get shit from these bosses. The world boss don't drop shit for me ever. Yeah. I did hear there were a lot of issues with this world boss, though. All day yesterday, everybody in chat was bitching about the world boss. Is he still a bitch? Everybody hates this fight. I don't know what it is about it. I haven't done it yet. I'll do it today. But every single person who's encountered this boss fight says it is absolutely ridiculous. It takes forever. Well, I mean, everybody's weak right now, too. So you got to remember that. Nobody has tier set bonuses. All of our Reshi Rap shit is at its weakest point right now. So I'm sure as DPS numbers go up, this boss fight will become easier. Yeah, it's good.
Alt that can use it. Keep killing the world boss every week, and you will end up with a nice pile of warbound gear that will make gearing up your alts much easier in the future. World quests can reward you with adventurer gear, which can be upgraded up to item level 678 using weathered crests and valor stones, so that's an option if you have some lower item level pieces of gear you need to replace. After that, we're looking to dungeons. Heroic dungeons drop item level 665 adventurer gear, so that's another easy source of adventurer gear if you need it, and you can queue into heroic dungeons so you don't have to worry about setting up the groups manually. Heroic dungeons are also a great repeatable source of weathered crests and valor stones.
That is something to think about, heroic dungeons versus running, because you can do mythic zeros this week, which is obviously going to give you the best gear you could possibly get from a dungeon this week. But if you're like DPS and you're going to wait 40 minutes for a group, maybe this week you won't, because there's going to be a lot of groups for me. But if you're going to wait a long time for a group to fill up, maybe auto queue for some heroics. That might be the easier way to do it while you're questing or something.
Mythic Zero dungeons will give you some of the best gearing options in this first week. They drop item level 681
Filling
gear,
out your
and
vault's
that
kind
can
of
be upgraded
important
up to 691 just by using carved crests, which is the highest item level gear we can reliably get right now. Mythic Zero dungeons have a weekly lockout, so you can only get gear from each dungeon once in this first week. So if you really want to get the best gear possible right now, make sure you run each dungeon at least once on Mythic Zero before the weekly reset rolls around. So we have a few ways to get gear and crests, but should you actually be upgrading your gear this week, or should you save your crests and valor stones for next week? Well, I think it largely depends on you and how you plan to gear up when the season starts, but for the vast majority of players, I would say anything that requires weathered crests or carved crests, you can pretty much just upgrade whatever you want. Those items will be replaced fairly quickly if you're farming up a lot of champion gear, and those crests are not going to be useful for very long.
Yeah,
so I would say feel free to spend any weathered or carved crests on whatever you want.
I think it's a good idea to use all those too. It's really important to push all of your item level up to certain levels to start getting those discounts on upgrading. We talked about that yesterday. Those discounts are major. I think 471 is the item level you want to get to next to start getting a discount. So pushing everything as high as you can in every slot up to that point is kind of important right now.
Feel free to spend any weathered or carved crests on whatever you want. I would try to start next week with as close to 2,000 Valor Stones as possible though, and I would save any Crimson Valor Stones you have, or any other item that creates Valor Stones when used. You can stock up on the actual currency to 2,000, and leave those items in your bag for an emergency Valor Stone source when you start upgrading your gear. There is another way to use your weathered crest.
Yeah, what am I saying? 471. I'm already freaking there.
Though, if you visit the Enchanted Crest vendor in Dornagal, you can trade 30 weather crests in for an Enchanted Crest, which will allow you to craft gear up to item level 675, which is just shy of fully upgraded adventurer gear. The great part about using your weathered crests this way is that it doesn't cost any Valor Stones, only the weathered crests. So this is a great way to fill in your lower item level slots very easily, and it's particularly great for alts that don't have great gear to be.
681. Why are we saying 4? Yeah. Why are we in the 400s? Yeah, Cadence is right. We're 200 item levels behind. Shit, we got a lot of upgrading to do.
Begin with. It's also worth mentioning that the Nightfall gear vendors down in Hallowfall were updated with this patch as well. You can now trade your tokens in for Season 3 Adventurer gear, which can again be upgraded up to item level 678. Nice. So if you have some of those tokens left over, or you just need to replace one or two pieces of gear really badly, that vendor might be worth looking into as well. We can also start filling up the Great Vault this week for some shiny rewards on reset day. We can't do anything for the raid row, but we can fill up the dungeon row and the open world row fairly easily. For the dungeon row, the best rewards we can get are from running Mythic Zero dungeons, which will give you item level 691 loot in your weekly vault. We only have 6 dungeons to run on Mythic Zero right now, so if you want to max out this row, you will need to run an extra 2 dungeons that won't give you any loot, so keep that in mind. For the Delve row, the max rewards come from running tier 8 Delves, which provides you with item level 694 gear in your vault.
Oh wow, so wait, Delves are more lucrative this week than Mythic Zeros even are, for the vault at least. 694, wasn't it 691 for the Mythic Zero? Yeah, it's 691 for the Mythic Zero, so running a +8 Delve is more lucrative for your vault this week. Interesting. Okay.
Tier 8 Delves, which provides you with item level 694 gear in your vault. You'll need to run 8 tier 8 Delves to max out that row, and if you do everything, that will give you 6 chances to get something decent on reset day. Remember that the vault can contain tier gear in any reward slot, so it's usually worth doing as much as you can, but I would at least make sure you have 1 reward in the dungeon row and 1 reward in the Delve row as a minimum.
Okay.
If you are returning to the game after a break, or you just didn't get around to it in patch 11.17, I would also make sure you have your disc belt unlocked and fully upgraded going into next week. The belt is still available, and it's from the same rough location in Dornagal near the Delve headquarters, except the quests themselves have changed. Now all you need to do is run a Delve to get the belt initially, and run 1 more Delve for each upgrade item. If you're unlocking your Delve tiers, you will be running enough Delves to complete this entire chain anyway, so...
Is this thing going to continue to be upgraded then? Is this thing... because he's talking about getting it, so it must be relevant still.
You don't have that belt yet, be sure you pick up those quests and turn them in before you run each new Delve tier. The belt may be old content at this point, but you can still upgrade it to item level 701, making it a higher item level than most gear you can acquire in this first week, and the special effects mean we will probably be keeping this belt for a long time regardless of item level. The Circe's Circlet Ring was still some classes' best in slot item towards the end of Season 2, so this belt might stick around longer than you think, so it is definitely worth picking up for sure. So, to recap, get your cloak from the story quests, upgrade it, and get your pure fiber socket. Unlock your higher tiers of Delves for next week, make sure you have the belt from patch 11.17 upgraded, collect as many coffer keys as you can be bothered to get, gear up as much as you want, get your first crafting spark, and unlock some rewards in the weekly vault. That's pretty much everything I would recommend you do to get ready for the start of Season 3, so that's it for this video. How are you preparing your characters for the new season, and how many weekly vault slots are you aiming to have ready for reset day? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below.
Play the game,
A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Go look and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.
Nice video, good comprehensive video. Probably the most surprising thing to me was the fact that Delves will give you a higher item level. A +8 Delve will give you a higher item level than +0 Mythic Plus right now. So do those Delves. That's the best thing I took out of this video for sure. Nice video from Kalani.